Somebody is sitting under the shade today because somebody planted a tree a long time ago.
When you get praise, that induces dopamine. That when you consistently keep optimizing for that dopamine rush, i.e. from the praise, you're not going to do your best work, you're going to do your most recognizable work.
A lot of the youth, they get caught up in these announcements. They get dopamine releases from announcing on Instagram, I have just gotten my residency card in Dubai, I'm going there, I'm going to conquer Dubai. Who cares, bro?
Do things that no one's going to praise you for. Sam, give us another principle, please.
You're chasing everything that's trending right now, everything that's making quick money. So you never end up becoming great at one thing that outlives you.
Some victories are for your descendants and not for your calendar. So my point is that you have to be willing to fight for a victory that you will never see.
There's also the story of Abu Hurairah, and there were ahadith that he said, if I was to tell you the ahadith.
Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sam.
Assalamu alaikum.
How you doing, bro?
Good, alhamdulillah.
If you knew that all the great work that you're doing, you would never, ever, ever be appreciated for it. You'd never be recognized for it. Would you still do that same level of work?
I wouldn't change a thing. I would still be doing it at the same level.
Yeah?
Yep.
Zarir, what about you, bro?
Absolutely.
Absolutely what?
Absolutely. Still do it.
You still do it?
Yeah.
Why is that, Sam?
You asked for recognize, right, Sheikh? Like, I'm not doing it for recognition, or I'm not doing it for awards or claps. No, Sheikh. This could be, a quote when it comes to anything thinking long term that always motivates me, Sheikh, is basically somebody is sitting under the shade today because somebody planted a tree a long time ago.
Wow.
Right? So nobody knows who planted that tree. Every time we take shade, really nobody even asks. So
this is very interesting, right? Because our discussion today is what are our biggest rules, lessons, principles for long-term thinking and long-term strategy. Because people who have a long-term approach to things will always build better than those who have a short-term approach to things. Hastiness.
Wow, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Right? So hastiness, al-ajala min ash-shaytan, or kama qala Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, hastiness from the devil. Because hastiness prevents you from doing your best work in terms of your deed, in terms of your business, in terms of your relationship, whatever. That's why the scholars have a saying, man ista'jala, whoever hastens towards something, qabla waqtihi, before its time is due, uqiba bi hirmanihi, he's punished by being prevented from achieving that thing in the first place. So for me, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, I believe one of the biggest rules to long-term thinking and having a long-term strategy to build great things is to make yourself immune to praise. Because praise and recognition is a thing that will prevent you from doing your best work. Because we know that praise is a fitna. Right? We know the Prophet ﷺ, he told us not to praise each other to each other's faces and so on and so forth. And it's a disease, it's a major disease of the heart. It's something that stops you from doing things for Allah's sake in acts of worship. So if you're going to take things that are for Allah and give them to a creation because you want to be praised, then of course you're going to do it for things that got nothing to do with Allah Azza wa Jal, right? But even like from a biological perspective, when you get praised, that induces dopamine.
exactly.
And you become addicted to the dopamine.
Exactly.
And what happens is that when you consistently keep optimizing for that dopamine rush, i.e. from the praise, then you're not going to do your best work. You're going to do your most recognizable work. And usually your best work, it takes ages for it to even be recognized, which is why when there's a building,
Yep.
with your development projects, how long are they building the foundation underground?
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes a year plus, and you don't see anything
happening.
But that's the foundation. I can come and build this grand building without a foundation, and it will look pretty, but it will collapse. So in order for a person to have long-term strategy, he's got to abandon praise.
Right.
That's one thing he has to do. There's others as well.
Of course.
But on praise, I'll tell you something that happened today. In the morning, usually it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, I'm usually in the sea.
Yeah.
And I'm in the sea like 5 a.m. In summer, sometimes even earlier, 4, we pray Fajr on the boat. But I love praying Fajr, not on the boat in the marina. I love praying Fajr on the boat in the middle of the sea.
Okay.
And then we watch the sun come up.
And why is that?
It's incredible. It's like God, Allah's putting on a show for you. You know, you see like it's pitch black, and then you see the colors change. It's magnificent. But the point is, today we started a bit later for different reasons. So I said I'll go to the gym first. I went to the gym, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that, after Fajr, and it was empty. And usually that time during the week, it's full. And you know what that made me realize? That all those people that were training during the week, they're not training on the weekends. You know why?
Because no one's there to watch them.
No one's there to watch them. Their reason for training is weak. It's just it's aesthetics.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a deep reason. It's not a strong reason. If it was, then they'd be in the gym on Saturday or Sunday or both and just maybe have one day off. Do you get me?
Yep.
But they're just training not really for physical health or fitness or strength. They're training just to look good in jeans or
sometimes
clothes.
just because everyone does. Everyone works out before going to work, so it's just like a pattern they're following.
And when your reasons, so either it's so people say, "Oh, you look good," or for them to look good. But the point is, when you do something, even like working out or bigger than that, and your reason isn't a strong reason, you won't go the distance.
So then, how do you train yourself to? And if anyone's got any perspectives here, I'd love to hear, because I'm saying this, yet to not care about people's praise and to not optimize for it is actually hard. It is actually hard, right? So what are some things that you guys have done to be able to, you know, not work for people's praise? Still do the hard work despite not being praised.
One of the things is surround yourself with people that are levels above you, because they're not going to praise you for something small that they did 5-10 years ago. Why are they going to praise you for that? It's like, you need to do something incredible to even get some praise from them. But if you're surrounded by yes men, if you're surrounded by people and you're the top guy in that group, you're going to get praised left, right and center, because you're surrounding yourself with bums. But
what if you're on social media now? Because you can be in real life around great people that won't praise you, but you can be on social media around bums who will just praise you. In fact, great people might even praise you on social media because you present yourself in a particular way.
I mean, one thing that I do is, number one, I always have my notifications turned off. So I don't ever get notifications anyway. Primarily because it's a waste of time. Half of them are just, flipping right-wing guys or Muslim coconuts who are, anti-hijrah. Another thing is, I just delete social media. Right now, I don't even have Instagram on my phone. Deleted it. I plan to delete it for maybe like a few weeks, maybe even a month. Every now and again, just do that. But I think the key thing is, because online, that's different. I think the real killer is the offline praise that you get. That's the one that really affects you, makes you think, I'm doing something.
I would have thought it was the other way around.
Online is random people.
Yeah, but still, bro, it's the issue is not necessarily who's giving you the praise. It's that if your brain gets wired to get a dopamine hit out of likes and comments and views and subscribers, and you become addicted to that and you can't even help it. It happens on a neurological level.
For me, I feel like it's the in-person one more.
Like I heard Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. This guy, he sold his first company for $500 million. And he's got probably the fastest growing, in my opinion, podcast in the world right now. And even he mentioned, he's like, brother, I still find myself chasing these superficial metrics. Like, subscribers is a big deal for me. I'm always on the YouTube app looking at how many views I'm getting. Do you get me? Like even at that level.
I think one way to counter that is actually training yourself to get dopamine release by doing work that nobody knows about. Which I really enjoy the time with myself. Literally, not even at my home, nobody knows. Sometimes I wake up 3:30 a.m. and I'm doing some deep work. Nobody knows. My wife thinks I just woke up for Fajr and went to the masjid, but I've been up for an hour before that. But in the wintertime, 2 hours before that, right? So actual finding pleasure in spending time with yourself, putting that extra rep when nobody's watching, it takes training, but you actually, because we all need the dopamine release though. So it's not, so if we're getting dopamine release from the wrong places, that's the problem. But without dopamine release, you're not excited. You don't want to move, right? So you need to train yourself to get dopamine release from something that's not harmful.
One of the ways to train yourself with that is, before you start, just tell yourself, I'm going to enjoy this. Even if you don't, like, even if it's the most boring, worst thing that you can do, just by telling yourself before you start, this is so enjoyable. I love making it like part of your identity. You know how Fawaz talks about do something and make it part of your identity. If you say, I'm a person who loves doing deep work, I'm a person who loves doing ihsan, you will find that will start to come true in a weird way.
Do you guys want to hear something depressing? I've been searching for a halal investment opportunity with high returns for over 15 years. And other than Bitcoin, regretfully, I never found anything solid. The opportunities I found always had one of three issues. It was either haram disguised as halal, or it was super risky and volatile, or it had painfully low returns. I'm talking the type where they mention you make your first million when you're 50. But that all changed when I interviewed the most impressive real estate investor I've ever met, Brother Sam Amin. I interviewed him on my podcast, Righteous and Rich. And he blew my mind away with a halal real estate investment opportunity where he's helping his investors get 50% returns in 2 years. Allahumma barik. In fact, some of the most well-known students of knowledge and well-respected businessmen have invested with him and made hundreds of thousands and even millions. Allahumma barik. And get this, it's actually halal. There are no dodgy fatwas. There's no tricks. It's 100% halal. But there is a catch. There's always a catch. The catch is you have to have at least $100,000 liquid ready to invest within the next 30 days to qualify for his current development project in Dubai, where it's projected that he's going to be giving 50% returns to his investors over a 2-year period, inshallah. So if you're interested and you'd like to book a call with this team, you can do so at the link below. But just a heads up, if you don't have the $100,000 ready to deploy in 30 days, they won't take that call. With that said, let's get into the podcast.
But these are two different things that you're talking about. What you're talking about is making difficult things enjoyable. What he's talking about is how to do difficult things that are impressive and not seek the praise for it.
So,
And what he said, I understand. I understand it very well. What did he say? He said that you need to train yourself to do impressive stuff and not seek the praise by actually doing it and not letting anyone know about it. Climbing a mountain alone, not that it's a safe thing to do. Climbing I'm just giving you an example. Climbing a difficult mountain, a dangerous mountain alone and not taking a selfie on the top.
Yep.
And
Not
coming
even
back
talking
down
about it.
and nobody knows that you did it. But you know you did it.
So
You get what I mean? You do that. That's the training you're
That's
talking
dopamine
about.
release. Yes.
That's the
without
training that you're
praise.
talking about. Now you don't need the...
Yeah.
You get me?
Yep.
So just to mention some points on this, just some thoughts. So it's interesting because this ties into the concept of sincerity in our religion as well, which I'll touch upon in a second, right? But when it comes to ibadah, which generally is something that you shouldn't receive praise for, because if you receive praise for your worship from other than Allah Azza wa Jal, then that can make you susceptible towards riya,
That's shirk.
right? Which is a type of shirk. It's a minor shirk. So what the scholars would say to do is they would say, do private deeds. And they said, if you do private deeds, this creates inside of you the habit of doing things for which you receive no praise. So there's a famous story of the great-grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the great-grandson, Ali ibn Hussein. It was also known as Zain al-Abidin. May Allah have mercy on him. Amin. So check this. People used to
Amen.
say he was stingy. He was actually accused of being stingy while he was alive. Right? So understand that fact first. Then the story gets even more incredible. The day he dies, 100 families turn up. And they're asking people around the city, they're saying, where's our food? Where's our bread? Where's our bread? We used to be given bread every single night. We wake up in the morning, it was there for us. People are confused. What are you guys talking about? And they only connected the dots when they came to wash Zain al-Abidin, rahmatullah ta'ala's body. They found this dark mark that was across his back that was formed from the strap of the sack that he would have on his back carrying 100 loaves of bread every night. Right? Or whether it was 100 at one time or not. Point is that carrying the loaves every single night, 365 days a year for Allah knows how many years. And he kept that hidden. No one knew what it was. And what's crazy here is that this is something that he's actually being accused of. The opposite. And he still kept it hidden for Allah's sake. So the Salaf, this was a thing that they would do. Like Sufyan al-Thawri, his wife mentioned that, my husband, he would get up every night to pray Qiyamul Layl. And then he would get back into bed. pretend like he just woke up to wake me up and said, let's pray. Because I knew the whole time. And I didn't want to let him know that I knew, because if I did, then that would have, he would have gone another level. Right. You know, you just wanted to have mercy on him. So she didn't let him know, but she said, I knew he was doing that every night. Point being here is that this is something that we know, right? As something the scholars did. But I came across this clip from Andrew Huberman, right? And recently, I've started...
who?
Huberman. He's a neuroscientist.
Huberman?
Yeah, Huberman.
Okay.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy? I didn't say he was a bad guy.
We are like guided. I mean, no, actually, honestly, his stuff has made me recently become very interested in neuroscience. Right, very interested. So there was a video clip, and I'll link it below. Please make sure you put it here for people to watch, inshallah ta'ala. Yeah?
As in link it, or you want to cut
No,
it?
we'll link it below. We'll link it below. It's a 30-minute clip.
Oh, okay.
But he makes the point very eloquently, and the point that he makes is that is what you just said, that when you do acts that no one praises you for, it releases a more potent type of dopamine. It releases a more potent type of dopamine, and that dopamine makes you do better work, as opposed to the dopamine that gets released from praise.
So powerful.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then he says that this actually creates, when this dopamine gets released, it creates even stronger neurological pathways in your brain towards that action that you do. So much so that you keep repeating it over a time, your nervous system starts to recognize that private action that you do with that high caliber as your new identity.
Wow.
So in other words, when you do acts of worship privately, over time, your nervous system starts to recognize you as a mukhlis.
Brother, khalas, I gotta go.
Why?
Do some private acts. You pumped me up.
So look, that's in terms of ibadah, right? But even in terms of business, it's like the person who can get up and do the hard work for his business that no one else sees him doing, right? Or the work that he does in his community or in his marriage or whatever, in terms of the gym. You know, we've talked about it before, right? The one who does the extra rep when no one else sees. Your nervous system starts to recognize you as the guy who goes above and beyond at that level. So he actually mentions that your most understated advantage could actually be not being recognized. So he's trying to say, if you're the underdog who no one else sees, keep going, because you will become an absolute beast. Like, it will come out of you. Like, you know, like the cup, if you keep pouring water, eventually it overflows. He said that's what will happen. Like, your greatness will not be limited. And then I'll move on from this point, because
Don't move on, continue.
I hate these monologues, but I'll end with a statement of
Enjoyed, Sheikh.
Muhammad Mukhtar Shanqiti, rahimahullah. Hafidhullah, may Allah give him long life, khair, and barakah, Amin. The Sheikh who teaches in Medina, he's got a garden in Medina. Interesting, you know, the Sheikh is very, very wealthy. People don't know.
Allahumma barik.
And he has a massive farm.
Allahumma barik.
And he teaches one lesson a month.
Oof.
Yeah.
What does he do for the rest of the month?
What I've heard is he just sits in his farm reading.
But how does he have money? He's a businessman, or
His
what?
farm. He's got
a farm.
Great
Okay.
farm in Medina.
Allah
Yeah.
Akbar.
Allah
Good.
barik. So, anyways, the Sheikh, he he's one of the most knowledgeable men alive today. And it's weird. He only does one lesson a month, but he's probably one of the most famous imams, maybe after Sheikh Abdul Zakir Badr in Medina. His videos go viral online.
Wow.
Viral. Anyway, he says that he mentions a story. His father was also a Sheikh, and he came to his father one day and he said, Dad, as a young man, teenager, he said, Father, the people are telling me that I'm knowledgeable and that I should benefit people with my knowledge. You know what Dad said to him? He said, they're lying too. Keep studying. He comes to him maybe like 5, 6, 7 more years later. He says, Father, like, people are telling me, like, you know, like, I have knowledge and we need to spread knowledge and it's in need. Like, can I carry on? Like, can I teach? Can I do something for them? And he said, my son, if there's khair in you, Allah will bring it out one day. He said, you just keep working. And subhanAllah, look, he was in the shadows. I think it was after the age of 30 or 40 that he even started to teach, and he blew up. Like, everyone knows him. So for me, it's something I've been reflecting a lot on recently, and I'm thinking that, you know, the other day, you know, I was talking to someone a couple of months ago, actually, like, you know, start making content online and showing what you're doing and whatnot and so on and so forth. So I tried one day. I was like, let me just post my day. And bro, it was just me at my desk. Like, I'm not going to show you me in the masjid. I'm not going to show you me reading Quran.
That's the challenge I'm facing, Sheikh.
Yeah.
People ask to do vlog in the day of life of, I'm like, I don't know what to show you.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
That's why every Wednesday I'll post paddle because that's the only shit. That's what I'm doing. But apart from that, bro, like my day, I'm just grinding, bro. I'm just working.
Bro, I have my
Your day's
my
pretty
position
different.
on paddle.
What's your position?
It's gay.
I didn't say that.
Paddle's for real, man.
La, let Fawaz be here, then I'll tell him my position. He's the one who
It
corrupted
will
you
be
guys.
fun. It will be fun.
But yes, brother, where were we?
So, no, in essence, to summarize that point, I feel like one of the for me, a major rule that I've far from mastered, but I'm trying to work at it, is to do things that no one else can see me doing. And not just in acts of worship, just generally. Because that allows you to produce your best work. And we talked about all of the dopamine, the reasons for it. But ultimately, if you want to have a long-term vision to build something great that outlives you, then there's no way to work towards that without getting praise, without being unrecognized. And if you are getting recognized, then that can become a hindrance to long-term
I want to add one point here. Now, I'm just thought about it now. Any like big movers and shakers in the world, like from a dunya sense, business and whatnot, if you look at their pivotal moment, like if you do reverse engineering now and go back to like what catapulted them to where they are now, it's something they did. Now we know about it, but when they did it, nobody knew about it. Right? So for example, Elon Musk, like I know his story, like we know there's so many stuff, but the point where it really changed for him was when they sold the PayPal mafia, sold PayPal, and his share was $175 million. And he put it all back into Tesla and SpaceX. At that time, who knew Elon Musk's name?
Yeah.
Now, think about fast forward, everything we know, but think about recently, he made a president. Literally, he made a president through X. If he had not bought Twitter, Trump is not president today.
100%. Yeah.
Second, he just formed his own political party.
Yeah, I heard.
American Party. And people are not taking it seriously now, but Sheikh, I think he's very serious. And he's not here to make president. You know what he's going to do? He just needs 3 or 4 Senate seats. Because all the votes that go to the Congress, through the Congress in America, it always wins by a vote or 2.
So he can veto whatever.
Oh, man. If he has 3 or 4 seats, that's it. You know? But now we're going to all complain about him. Oh, he supports Tommy Robinson. Oh, he supports this guy. Oh, he supports... Where were we when he built PayPal, sold it, got 175 million? How many of us, when we get 175, will put it right back into building something else? How many of us? Just think about it. But we didn't know about him nothing. Now, 25 years later, we're crying. 100%. So how long more we're going to keep crying? 100%. There's another Elon Musk in the making now. That's my point, that we don't know about.
And there are Muslims that could be that.
Of course, yeah, 100%.
But they're just busy on social media.
Yeah,
they're just busy coming out too early.
But bro, I'll tell you something. With now it's a little bit less, but with the whole Muslims who can be Elon Musk thing, there's so many obstacles that they have. Less today, but more yesterday. Which is the messaging. The messaging that especially if they're practicing or semi-practicing or whatever the case may be. Back in the day, you know this. The messaging was what? Poverty is
piety.
And and so on and so forth. And the closer a person is to religion, the further he is away from ambition. Now it's less, and thanks partly to you as well, you and Abu Bakr.
You're praising him.
Huh?
You're praising him. Good comment.
What does that mean?
Avoid it. And then the whole point of this podcast is avoid praise.
Avoid praise?
No, not the podcast.
Praise.
Not the
praise.
podcast.
My rule, Yani?
No, what he just mentioned.
I'm praising him?
Do things without praise people in
So
their
I'm trying to
face.
sabotage him? That's what you're trying to say?
I
Did it feel good?
I actually think that at the risk of a false sense of humility, I'll say, I actually don't think that we can, even if we wanted to take all the praise for that. I think actually there's something about the entrepreneurs in this region, in this part of the world, that are changing that perception. Like the Arab world, Jaziratul Arab, the Arabian Peninsula, generally speaking, is seen as it's obviously the center of Islam. It's the center of Islam. Islam started from here. And the fact that you have entrepreneurs in Medina, you have entrepreneurs now in Mecca who dedicate themselves to worshipping Allah Azza wa Jalla, not compromising, but building great things. Of course, here as well, look, there's a big movement on entrepreneurs who are coming here to the Gulf region. I feel like that is also showing people that, you know what? Poverty isn't piety, because you can build great things.
Yeah, but who is promoting that message,
Who's promoting
pushing
That's the
entrepreneurship.
question.
I don't like to use this word. Pushing business and the youth to start business.
Every individual is involved.
It's not the Islamic scene. It's the rulers.
You know,
It's the government.
yes, but also
It's the shuyukh.
But also now,
Not the mashayikh.
no. Actually, I think I don't think that's accurate to say.
Let's say how it is.
No, I actually don't think that's accurate to say.
Yeah.
I think I've never heard a sheikh ever in my life tell me not to pursue business. In fact,
Brother, I'll send you some videos.
no. 1 second. When
I'll,
you say
I'll,
mashayikh,
I'll send you some videos.
are you confusing Western?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm confused.
Western.
That's exactly what I'm confused.
you know,
Du'at.
du'at.
yeah,
if we
'cause
can even
that's
call
what
them
I
that.
see on YouTube.
But I'm saying when you use the word mashayikh,
I know.
think
Okay,
of,
it's not mashayikh.
I think of sheikh.
No,
Fawzan.
hold on a
I
second.
think of
hold on.
sheikh.
Let me be clear.
Yeah.
I said that this messaging,
Yeah.
pushing the youth to start businesses in this part of the world is very big, and it's been big for a long time.
Correct.
Like, I'll tell you something. When I was in university, that's like 20 years, no, more than 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like the Dubai government back then,
Promoting entrepreneurship.
no, you could walk into Emirates Towers, where Sheikh Mohammed's office was back in the day on the top.
The trade center.
You could walk into Emirates Towers. You could walk into Emirates Towers. There's an office over there. If you're Emirati and you have an idea,
Yeah.
they will fund it.
You'll find it.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
Now it's changed. Now there's like
Because obviously
they need to
there's a huge
exactly
demand,
like,
right?
whatever it is.
I mean, there's a huge supply.
This is brother 20 years ago.
Yes.
So Sheikh Mohammed was promoting this, pushing this. Now you have it not only in Dubai, you
Yes.
have it in the 7 Emirates, you have it in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh. Point is, it came from the shuyukh. When I said mashayikh, it just sounded nice.
Yeah.
But the mashayikh, there's a difference between, for me, speakers and mashayikh and ulama, right? The mashayikh, they're deep engrossed in the real religion, wallahu alam, that's what they're doing. Du'at, they're talking about anything and everything.
Not all the du'at, but there's
A lot of them.
Look, I'll tell
You
you
know what I mean?
look,
But they don't talk about this. And
I'll tell you something without digressing. I remember something my sheikh said to me. Yeah, he said if the Chinese became the biggest superpower in the world tomorrow, because you'd find that these du'at are mixing in ideas of Confucius in their da'wah.
There you go.
Right? He goes, if the communists took over, you'd find, and it's happened in the past, that they started pushing communism. So because the Western du'at, obviously being underneath, liberal, basically in liberal environments and situations, what were they doing? They were obviously pushing that liberal narrative. So that's why their message got watered down and it became adulterated.
Yeah.
Since we started making content for righteous and rich entrepreneurs, I've gotten so many messages from brothers who've been inspired and want help making money online. They're hungry for financial freedom so they can seek knowledge, do hijrah, and live life on their terms with Allah's permission. But here's the truth. I can't help you. I personally only work with 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs. With that said, there is one brother that I trust more than anyone else that helps beginners start their online businesses with Allah's permission. In fact, I've sent him dozens of brothers already, and time again, he's helped them make consistent money online. Look, I have a lot to lose by putting my name behind someone I don't have full confidence in. But this brother, I've vetted him and his team and his method. I trust him with Allah's permission. Which is why I'm ready to risk my 10-year plus reputation on telling you this brother, he will help you make money online, inshallah ta'ala. So if you're interested, go to the link below and you can apply for his mentorship. With that said, let's get back into the discussion. Now, because the whole Islamic entrepreneurship scene is growing, now I'm finding
everyone
talking about it as well. Like, for example, not that this particular da'i ever didn't talk about these, that he ever talked the opposite. Ustad Bilal Asad from Australia. Okay. He makes a lot of content entrepreneurship now. And I don't know if he's doing that intentionally or it's being cut up or it's being collated. But this is a theme that you're starting to see now of actually du'at addressing these issues, because they're seeing that our youngsters now are not just concerned about marriage, they're concerned about money as well.
And they're on that way. They're on that road, regardless of...
So you have to address it.
Of people pushing them towards it or not. They're on that road. But there was a video that I saw of some speaker. Somebody asked him a question. Should I start a business or get a job? Mm-hmm. And he basically highlighted all of the things that can go wrong if you start a business, and pushing in the safe road of getting a job. Do you know which video I'm talking about?
I know which video you're talking about.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't.
I do.
Please send it to him. Really, it was very upsetting.
what? Like,
you're taking the guy's هذا.
you know what?
You're removing it from him physically.
I actually think this is such an important topic that we should make a separate discussion on it, right? Which is, should we encourage entrepreneurship over 9 to 5? And there's pros and cons to both. But I think this is something that's so important. I think we should make a separate discussion. What do you think?
Definitely. But my concern with that guy, and I'll just end on this, is that the person who was asking him was a young man, young boy. He's in his father's house. That is the best time for you to start a business. When you don't have the responsibility of
100%.
things going south.
100%.
It relates to the topic, Shah. That's the lack of long-term thinking in the whole ummah. It's lack of
100%.
long-term thinking.
Well, then, okay, if that's the case, then I will mention something on it now. Then, since
It's literally lack of long-term thinking.
So look, this is the issue with the UK right now, right? England has actually made the environment so anti the entrepreneurial spirit. The entrepreneurs, what are they doing now?
They're leaving.
They're just leaving. Every 40 minutes, a millionaire leaves the UK to
Are you
come
talking
to
about in terms of like taxes?
Dubai because of taxes. Yeah, right.
There's expected
cost
to
of
be
living.
And cost of living.
16,400
Sorry?
16,400 UK millionaires are expected to come to Dubai in 2025. Dubai alone.
In this year?
This year.
And currently, every 40 minutes, one is leaving.
Yeah, that's based on 10,400 last year. Now it's expected to be 16,500.
That's
So it's going to be
crazy.
every 30 minutes now.
And what they're saying right now is that this actually has bigger problems because you know what it means? What it means is that because they didn't have that long-term thinking, this is how it connects, is that the UK actually is not really leading in any major groundbreaking technology right now. They don't lead in AI. They don't lead in any of these things.
Did you see that video of that Chinese MP or I think he's ambassador or something, and he was in an interview with one of these news channels, UK ones, and they asked him something along the lines of, "Oh, but like, you know, how do you see yourself competing against the UK?" Something like that. He just goes, he turns around and goes, "UK." He's like,
Why would we compete against UK?
Like you guys aren't leaders in this. He mentioned, I think, technology. He mentioned this. He mentioned this. He mentioned exports. He mentioned this because we don't see US competition at all. And he was actually being like nice, polite, like saying like don't get it twisted. There's no competition here. But go on.
No, please.
Go on.
No, land.
Go on.
No, land.
So on that point with the UK, you mentioned about people leaving and so on and so forth. I feel like it starts even earlier. You know, the whole school system, the whole education system is based upon making people into employees. That's why entrepreneurship isn't pushed. That's why people have this, because I was like that. I mentioned in the previous podcast, I had this concept of if to get a good degree, get a good job, that's it. That's what will give you success in life. Whereas the reality is, bro, even the highest paid employees are paying more taxes than the billionaires and millionaires who are running these companies at the end of the day, because they've got loopholes and offshore accounts and all these different ways. You know, you mentioned that day about trusts, and you can freeze the value of the company in the trust and, you know, pay 1 million taxes when company's worth 500 million.
Yeah, different kind of trust.
So it's completely different, exactly. And they're playing a completely different ball game. But so far, the reason why it's kind of gone under the radar is because everyone was kind of like, the status quo was going. Things were just about being held together. But now there's a massive cost of living crisis. Rents are going up. Wages aren't, you know, the system's falling apart. And now you're seeing people are starting to leave. Other people that are in the country now, they're getting more and more radicalized. Some people going towards radical left, some people going towards radical right. And Allah Alam, you're going to see the whole thing break down.
And that's the thing, right? Because this concept, what you're talking about right here, yeah, is directly connected to the growth and fall of a nation, right?
Yeah,
like
rise and fall.
The rise and fall of a nation, barakallah fi. A nation that is not elite and great right now, right? It has to start thinking about these things in the long term before it even happens. Do you understand? Whereas the opposite happened in the UK. They were in a position where they were, you know, the world superpower.
Yeah.
Right?
The sun doesn't set on the English empire, they used to say.
That's what they used to say, right? And but it's setting now, brother. It's setting now when an Indian brother's taking your job, Tommy and Jack. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? What makes it even harder for them to have long-term thinking and think long-term and long-term results is the democracy. Each government's only there for 4 years. They know, so their planning, their thinking is maximum results within these 4 years.
Complete anti-long-term
That's so
thinking.
powerful.
It's the complete opposite.
Look, let me.
They come in with a 10-year plan. 4 years later, the next government comes in, scraps it,
Guys,
starts again from
Actually,
scratch.
that's one of the most powerful criticisms
Of democracy.
I've ever had in my entire life.
But they
Putting
shoot themselves in the foot.
That's putting aside like the religious criticisms of it, which I obviously, but like, wow. Because like here, who's going to tell, for example, Sheikh Mohammed something?
Yeah.
When he's just building,
He sees a hole in the road, it's fixed the next day.
there's no bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Just
But the
gets
thing
done.
is, what I wanted to say,
Wow.
I said that the sun doesn't set on the UK, and then you said it's setting now, and you laughed. I didn't laugh. The point is, why didn't I laugh? Because regardless of the history of the UK or whatever the case may be, I don't wish bad on any country.
You sure?
Okay, you know what I'm
country?
you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm almost any country. I don't wish bad on any country, especially, including the UK, especially the UK, because no country has all bad. They have their good, and I'll tell you, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who is like this. If you look at, I forgot which sultan it was, but the Irish, they had a famine.
Yeah, it was Ottoman Sultan, right?
It was an Ottoman Sultan.
Yeah.
Okay? The Irish, they had a famine. And the Ottoman Sultan heard about it, that they're dying from hunger. So he prepared gold to send to the Irish to support them. And there's no political benefit in him doing so. Because where's Istanbul and where's Ireland?
It's not a conquest target.
He's doing it, not conquest, not anything. Like there's no economic, political, any benefit for him to do it.
There's an ukhrawi benefit to that. There's a benefit in akhirah.
Yes, there's an after. There's a divine benefit.
Yeah.
Yes.
A benefit from God Almighty.
Of course.
So he prepares money after hearing of the plight of the Irish to send to Ireland. And the ambassador of England, and the Irish are subjects of the English, finds out about the amount of money that he's sending, communicates it to the Queen of England, who sends a message back to give to the Sultan to tell him not to do that. Because the amount of money that she has given to her subjects is less than what he was what he had prepared to
Wow.
Look,
hold on. So you know what he did? He could have still sent it, right? He's the Sultan. He could have still sent it. But what would have done for her? It would have created political problems for her in her country, in her kingdom. So he didn't do it. He didn't send it.
He sent
what he
potatoes,
did?
right?
He sent the equivalent. He gave her word, I will not send the money. What did he do? He gave the equivalent
even though
or
at the
more.
time they were against the Ottoman Empire.
Regardless, he did.
No, I'm saying the British Empire was against the Ottoman Empire.
I don't know that this is like
18th century.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
they had
long
issues.
ago. I mean, they always had issues.
issues.
But despite that, he gave his word to the Queen and said, I'm not going to send the gold. Didn't send the gold. He sent the equivalent value in food or more through ships. And those ships, when they tried to reach Ireland, the British Navy tried to stop them. But the Ottomans, they're really good sailors. So they outmaneuvered them and they reached a port in Ireland called Drogheda. And they landed there and they gave them that food, which was a lot significant. And that's why the Irish, they always stand with Middle Eastern countries. Till today, they don't forget it.
Yes, the MPs talk about it.
They never forget it.
Look, just to mention,
But the point was that the Sultan didn't wish bad on the Queen, even though they had
I
beef.
think it's important to mention here, just so people don't think that you're speaking as a sellout, because Islam is a mercy sent to all of mankind. And as Ja'far ibn Abi
Why would they
Talib,
think let them think what they like.
I know, but I want the point to land.
Okay, go on.
You're making a very powerful point, but it should be contextualized.
Okay.
Because there are some people that will say this point, and they intend, for example, to appease, those that don't wish us good. But your point is valid. I think it's a good point, and it needs to land.
Okay.
Which is that, as Allah says in Surah Al-Mujadila, that you have not been prohibited from not fighting those that do not fight you, and remove you from your houses, and being good to them, and being just to them. And Allah loves those who do justice.
There's an even better verse.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
This verse powerful.
Yeah.
When Allah said, أَن تَبَرُّهُمْ وَتُقْسِطُوا إِلَيْهِمْ, to be good to them and to be just to them. Imam Qurtubi made a very powerful point. He said, where the ayah said, those who are not fighting you, you've not been prevented from being just to them.
Yeah.
He said, but we're supposed to be just to even the one that's fighting us.
That's true.
So what does this mean here?
Okay, go on.
And he mentioned it means to go above and beyond.
Oof. That means if they're fighting you, you're just. If they're not, you
go above and beyond.
Above and
You
beyond.
go above and beyond. And he gave some examples that I read like 7 8 years ago, which I don't remember right now, but people can go back and check it out, check to see of the ayah. So Islam sent as a mercy to all of mankind, as Ja'far ibn Abi Talib said, the Prophet came to bring us out of the darkness and into the light. Firstly, of Tawheed and Sunnah, and worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal alone, and free us from the shackles of our nafs and our desires and these false gods that we worship. And of course, the oppression that we do to ourselves, right? So you're right, we don't wish bad on mankind. We hope for mankind to be guided towards Allah Azza wa Jal and that which is best for them and decide for the next. Amin. But I try and bring Abu Nuh.
In fact, this is actually from the zakat that is permissible, which is to give for the sake of bringing a person's heart closer to Islam, even if he's a kafir. And I think this is the only category where the person can be a kafir and you're giving him zakat.
Correct. So, just to introduce Abu Nuh to you guys, we're debuting him, inshallah, on Child Mobile.
Inshallah.
Half an hour into the podcast.
Yeah.
No, but we got a podcast, inshallah, so they'll introduce them.
Phenomenal brother, mashallah. A young brother, entrepreneur, dropped out of university. Akhi, so look, in terms of long-term thinking, what are your thoughts here, man? Like, what are the principles, the rules that help you think long-term?
While you guys were having a discussion, I was about to intervene to bring the benefit, and 2 or 3 times one of the brothers mentioned that benefit, and it clicked to me that actually what Abu Bakr said is so powerful, which is that when I'm in other gatherings, right, I mentioned that benefit which comes to mind in conversations, and everyone's like, wow, right? And I'm in gatherings now where that benefit's already mentioned. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what Abu Bakr said, you have to level up your gathering to stop getting praised, because when you're in other gatherings, people praise you for your fawaid, when they're not even fawaid at that point. They're just
fawaid meaning
common knowledge.
Benefits,
yeah. But subhanAllah, there was one thing I wanted to mention that I wanted to bring up, where you mentioned about doing things, right, in private, whether that's to do with the akhirah or to do with the dunya, right? SubhanAllah, we had a 5K run in the morning.
Today?
Yeah.
You just exposed yourself.
No, but it's not to do with That's special? How is that special? That's every Saturday.
No, you just did it again.
Sometimes twice a week.
Go on, make the point.
Al-Muhim, one of the brothers who we brought for the 5K run is his company that he founded 5 years ago makes 10 figures.
Allah barik. 10 figures.
10 figures.
Billionaire.
He's not a billionaire, but his company
revenues
a billion. And I asked the brothers afterwards, after we had the run, do you know who that brother was? I guess it's a normal brother, probably in a 9 to 5, maybe works in IT, this, that. And then I told him who he was. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, the exact reaction you guys had, I had when I first saw him 5 6 years ago. And subhanAllah, what that clicked to me is that a lot of the people who are doing great big things, you don't even know about it. You can look at them and they just seem like, Assalamu alaikum, brother, nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying?
A question that comes to my mind, a question came and kind of got the answer as well, but I'll ask the question anyway. I think it might be benefiting for people watching. As a businessman, right, you need to network, you need to open doors. A lot of that comes from your reputation, which comes from people understanding, recognizing this guy is a serious guy. This guy does put in the reps. This guy does have good discipline. This guy does do this. It's important to have some level, because you need authority, you need social proof, you need all of these things. So what comes to my mind then is that what you do has to be so great that even if, let's just say, you keep 80% of it hidden, that 20% that people do know about has to be significantly greater than everyone else's 100%. They're trying to put out, this fake persona that they are this great person. Wallahi. Your 20% that you let out has to be so mind-blowing that it dwarfs anyone else's 100% that they put out online.
But it naturally is that way when you just put the work in. Because most people don't even put in the work. So their 100% is very low. Aslan. So your 20%, you don't even have to work for it. You just, since you're doing this in private and you're not looking for praise, you'll supersede them naturally.
Correct. But I do feel like there does have to sometimes be an element of strategy when it comes to letting people know who you are, what you're about, what your mission is, what value you can provide for them. Otherwise, because look, if you're fully not taken seriously at all, no one knows who you are, doors aren't going to open.
Being a Muslim entrepreneur who's committed to making hundreds and millions of dollars through his business without compromising his deen, I can tell you this is a very lonely journey. But over the last year, I've realized that I'm not alone. In fact, some of the most sophisticated entrepreneurs are Muslims who fear Allah, and they watch this show. They attend our retreats, and they use their wealth for good. The issue is that they're all scattered. They're all alone. But inshallah, that changes once and for all on September the 6th. Because we're going to be launching our exclusive and powerful circle of Muslims making millions, inshallah ta'ala. If you make millions as an entrepreneur or have at least $10 million in assets through investments, then you qualify to join our waiting list at the link below. P.S. I just want to mention, money isn't the only qualifying factor, but it definitely is the first. So you can register your interest at the link below, inshallah ta'ala, and join the waiting list. With that said, let's get back into the discussion.
I think there's a very easy fix to that. The same way, in terms of your deen, right? There are acts of worship you have to do that are going to be public. Praying in the masjid is public, right? If you happen to give charity to a particular person, there's no way to give it to him except to give it to him in person. He's going to see, and he's going to thank you for it, right? You're going to get that praise. But then there's an act of worship or acts of worship that you should be doing in private that no one else knows.
There should be more.
They should be more if they can be more. It's not the case for me.
Something that the ulama, they advise. I'm not saying that's the case.
Yeah.
Our private deeds should be more than our public.
They should be, absolutely. But likewise in business, if there's business activity you have to do that force you to engage with the people, then let there be business activity you do that no one else sees. Like, let there be that hard work. Like, for example, with Sam, like, Allah Barik, I was mind blown when you mentioned
gonna come to me.
that there's 78 deals.
Yeah.
We're now 79.
Right.
I think 80 if you count
80,
the staff
80, 80,
Allah
yeah.
Barik, yeah?
Yeah.
That you underwrote from beginning to end, including negotiations, everything, giving the deposits.
Check. Yeah.
Giving
They
the,
didn't
give it,
cash
give
it.
it, giving the check,
Yeah.
right? Before you identified the one land that you're actually going to run with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, like this guy really been cooking. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's that research and that what you do behind the scenes that allows you to fundamentally, that when you do bring it out to the public, it's so mind-blowing. You're going to get 50% returns on a building in 2 years with Allah's permission, and there's no riba involved. You can only get to that type of a deal because of the 80 deals that you underwrote that no one else saw you doing. Even I didn't. We've been talking for a year.
Right.
We're on the same project.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But I had no idea. So I'm saying but he's still on social media. He's still turning up to the podcast. But there's stuff that he's doing that no one else knows about.
Right. I think what Brother Abu Bakr is mentioning, I just want to add, I think I know what he's talking about. I think the difference is announcements versus results. For example, when we're introducing ourselves, let's say to a networking party, there are some introductions where I'm about to do this, I'm about to launch this. It's all about to. You understand? Like 10 points he mentions about himself, it's going to happen now. So the dopamine is from the announcements. Whereas our brother comes, maybe one or max two things he'll say that I'm working on, but one or two other things he'll mention he has accomplished results.
This is what we've done.
That's what we have done. Right? And that will supersede or trump any other announcements. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And that's where, Sheikh, a lot of the youth, they get caught up in these announcements. They get dopamine releases from announcing on Instagram, I have just gotten my residency card in Dubai. I'm going there. I'm going to conquer Dubai. Who cares, bro? There's 224,000 visas issued this year. How many of them survive here? It's competitive, you know? 224,000 year to date, new visas issued in Dubai. It beat all other global cities. Wow. So who cares about the announcement you got a visa in Dubai?
One thing I used to do back in the days, like I used to spend so much time, I don't know how much time, maybe less than an hour, maybe around an hour, just, like on the Mercedes website, just configuring different cars, looking at this is, if I had this one, I'd have this leather.
You got the dopamine release from that.
I'd put the panoramic sunroof on there and this and that. Wallah, I don't know in my life how many hours of my life are wasted doing that. Whereas now I'm actually putting in the work towards things that will allow me to get that when if and when I do end up wanting it, getting it.
Yeah.
But just that concept, it's, as you said, you watch reviews, you configure it, you do all these things for things that you want. you know, whether it's a business class flight or whether it's a car, whether it's a nice 5-star hotel, and this, just instead spend that time actually putting in work into something that's going to generate results that will enable you to do that in the first place, rather than consuming content of other people doing the things that you want them to do.
Barakallah feek, man. So I think we've really taken this point home, right? Do things that no one's going to praise you for. Sam, give us another principle, please.
I think, Sheikh, not starting the short-term gratification thing, right? So a lot of the youth, they miss out, because a lot of the guys ask me, Sam, how have you raised 100 million and you have another $8-9 million committed in Dubai, but all your reputation is in US? Dubai is completely new. How do you still have and inshallah you're gonna get more? How is that happening? Well, the problem is in the introduction. In the introduction, most youth right now, I did a crypto fund, I made some money, then I opened up a pharmacy, then I did home health care, then I did this. So it's basically you're chasing everything that's trending right now, everything that's making quick money. So you never end up becoming great at one thing that outlives you, right? Jeff Bezos, when he established Amazon, he said, invest with me if you're okay with 10 years, no profit. We're lost business for 10 years. 10 years. And he raised $1 million from 20 people, $50,000 each. Now imagine their share value. The company's worth how much? $2 trillion plus, right? And he gave them 20% equity for $1 million. That means the company he valued at $5 million is $2 trillion plus. And he said, 10 years, no profit. One of the most powerful guys in the world today, right? So we have to not get caught up in these short-term awards, short-term gratifications, just change hats. Oh, this is not working, move. This is not working, move. You pivot within your industry. That's the only way to become great at anything. And Warren Buffett is the perfect example for it. He, of course, became the king of stock market. And he said, the stock market, it basically separates the patient and the impatient.
Okay.
Only the patient will win at the end. So it's having that, not jumping short-term from this to that, just becoming great at one thing.
Jameen, what else do you have for us?
Ask someone else. I just gave one.
Oh, that was gold. Wallah.
That was good. I think those you package it, so it dropped. It's done now.
No. Another thing, Sheikh, is we talked about the empires and sultans.
Yeah.
Another thing I have, this is something I want to work on. Inshallah, the waqf system, the endowments. I'm very passionate about it. Because I think we as
So
Muslims.
just explain to people what is an endowment for those who
Endowment is basically, I think, Sheikh, you'll explain better from Islamic sense. Just take 1 minute.
You got it. Go.
explain. Yeah.
So from it, basically, you buy an asset and you give it in an endowment. All the income that comes from that asset, you still have that asset, but under Islamic endowment, all the income that comes from it goes to a particular cause. So that particular cause over time becomes self-sufficient. Versus when I compare it with what's happening now, every Ramadan, I'm talking about the West, America particularly, every Ramadan we're raising fund for the same masjid, for the same cause, for the same issue. The masjid construction never ends. The Islamic school never opens. Whatever we're raising for never ends, bro, because it's not self-sufficient.
Basically, you're throwing money into a hole.
A hole.
Will never
Literally.
fill.
And out of that money you're raising, you're basically raising for the next Ramadan's marketing event, because you're putting money in the hole.
Yeah.
So you're going to run out of the money again. So you need a big, another fat budget to bring this celebrity, that celebrity for the next fundraiser, then the next, and it's just going through the hole. Versus an endowment.
Exact. Solution is you buy an asset with that charity.
Yes.
Buy an asset that provides returns that will forever or for the life of that asset,
Yes.
put money in that hole.
To the point, Shesh, to the point. Still, there are Ottoman waqf that pays for. You know who it pays for? It pays salary for caretakers of cats in the
I knew he
masjid.
was going to say that.
Oh wow.
I knew.
Till this day.
Yeah.
In Turkish. Waqf. Why do you see all these healthy cats in Istanbul? We're not afraid of any human beings because waqfs is taking care of them.
In all transparency, I've just actually started studying transactions. So we haven't.
Yes,
come
you
to
told me, Sheikh. You already taught me something.
Yes, I haven't come to waqf yet.
Okay.
So actually, you did a good job. I wouldn't have been able to have done the same thing. But no, I definitely think this is something that's very important, very deep, because the issue with a lot of these institutions that are not self-sufficient,
Short-term thinking, Sheikh.
it's short-term thinking.
Yeah.
They're just
Literally
thinking they're just thinking I'm going to spend all this money on bringing a celebrity.
Yeah.
They pay them?
They pay them and they pay crazy money, bro. 50K,
No, what
100K.
kind of celebrity? What are you talking about? Cool, like Tom
They'll bring
Cruise.
football players. They'll bring UFC fighters.
Like Muslim ones.
And they actually give charity money
Okay,
to these guys,
Of
and they
course.
actually
Check,
take
where,
it.
where are you living, bro?
You didn't
Live in
know?
Dubai, bro. This doesn't happen here.
No, the first person to
Because
tell
the
me.
government takes care of it.
Yeah,
Not only
Free
that, bro.
Qur'ans, free everything.
The first person to tell me about this was Brother Abu Bakr Islam and Spot Charity, because he, mashallah, is so by the book in how he runs his charity in Gambia, Allah Mubarak.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any of this nonsense. He was like, bro, you'd be disgusted and shocked if you heard.
Basically,
some of
first,
the
the
stuff that's being
minimum
done.
is 10% of any fundraising amount raised goes to the fundraiser, who is a du'at. And
himself.
without non-disclosure, without disclosure, not disclosed to the community. So when he's coming, giving this emotional hadith, crying, raising hands,
Bro,
the
don't make
audience
me
does
angry.
not
Don't
know
make
he's
me
getting
angry,
10%.
please.
But look, that's not necessarily haram. You know, if a person
But
agrees
exactly,
to a
they don't
particular
know.
payment,
I said, don't
if a
make me
person
angry, bro.
if a person if a person agrees,
Yeah.
a person agrees towards a reasonable payment
Yeah.
for a job that he's doing. Like, let's just say if he's a good fundraiser and he's got that job and he's going to help them raise more money than they had prior. It's like, for example, a charity that uses some of the donation money to run ads that are going to fundamentally bring them more. Do you know what I'm saying? But then when it gets extortionate, when you're paying the guy 50K, 100K
Yeah.
for an hour
Yeah.
and stuff like
Plus
that.
business class,
Plus
plus
business
hotels,
class.
plus everything.
And by the way, sometimes it's not just because
Plus baklavas and kunafas.
if someone sees a celebrity at a particular charity event, just so we don't think
So
bad
I've
of
seen the invoices.
just so we don't think bad of them.
Yeah.
Let's see the invoices.
He's seen the baklava on there. He's seen all the expenses.
I know, Sheikh, I've seen it.
But just so we don't think bad of every brother who might be in that situation, like at an event as a guest, sometimes they could be doing it for the sake of Allah for free. But there's management involved, right? Like, for example, that celebrity will have an agent or a manager, and Allah knows how much he's taking
The team, yeah.
and how much he's actually even giving the celebrity in the end. But point being is that this is short term thinking, right? It's like, we're gonna get the likes on social media, we're gonna get the clicks, but you don't actually build.
Okay, Sheikh. Okay, I get the point, but that would be long term. Let's say we keep the same infrastructure, but that would be long term. Putting that in an endowment.
In an endowment,
so we don't
correct.
have to continue doing this for the next foreseeable future without any plans.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
100%.
It never ends, Sheikh. Every season, every year, raising for the same cause.
Yeah, 100%.
and you don't see anything happening.
100%. Absolutely agree with you.
I think another principle is, you know, when you're always thinking about not just you and your life right now, but the future generations. If I make this decision today, how is this going to affect my children? How is it going to affect my grandchildren? How is it going to affect my grandchildren's grandchildren? From things like the place you choose to live. All right, cool. You might have found a bubble in a country in the West somewhere, and you're managing to keep your head above the water right now. Okay, what happens when you pass away and your children are going to be raised in that environment, which is getting worse and worse and worse, and their children and their children and their children. So if you're always thinking, okay, cool, today, if I decide to eat this apple instead of eating a chocolate bar, maybe that's extra minutes I'll get to spend with my children towards the end of my life. If I decide to put in 3 hours into this business and it grows 1%, maybe that's wealth. It means my great-grandchildren won't have to be begging on the street. They won't have to be taking from zakat. They won't have to be taking all these things. But you don't think like that. All you think about is, I want to buy the car. I want to buy a watch. So therefore, your business will never be able to grow bigger than that because that's all you're focused on. And when you get enough money to do that, you feel satisfied and you spend the money and then you're in a cycle like that. But if you're thinking, bro, I'm trying to build something here that's going to change the ummah, inshallah, that's going to be something that will benefit until Yawm al-Qiyamah, then the effect of what you do will last until Yawm al-Qiyamah. But if you're thinking about goals and things that are in your lifetime, then don't be surprised when your business dies when you die.
Okay, let me tell you a secret. I have access to some of the greatest Muslim entrepreneurs and investors in the world that are alive today. And I've been thinking long and hard about how to give you a personalized experience with them. Finally, my team, alhamdulillah, has come up with a solution. Starting from today, every week, you will get your questions on scaling your business and halal investments answered by the best Muslim entrepreneurs and investors, inshallah ta'ala. Think of it like a podcast straight to your email inbox. Each email will give you simple but powerful insights on how to make more halal money. If you're interested, just subscribe at the link below, inshallah ta'ala. It's free. So can I comment on that, yeah? Because it's actually a principle that we've obviously adopted in our company recently as well. Like we've redone the whole company vision, everything. We made the values
or go around this long-term vision. So the way I would articulate this principle is thinking decades and centuries. Thinking decades and centuries.
Yeah.
Not
decades and centuries.
Yeah, not in days and weeks.
And Imran, I remember when you mentioned this in the retreat.
Yeah.
There was a brother who was 50 years old in the retreat, and Imran wanted us to do a 50-year vision. And everyone's like, "Bro, he's going to be 100. How is he going to, what's the point of this?" But it was so powerful because when we came back from that task, that activity, all of us were just thinking beyond us, like our kids' generation, the ummah. And that's how the Sahaba were, right? When they would preserve the Quran, it was not for them. They had the Quran. You know, when it was Arabic grammar, they had Arabic grammar. But it was like, okay, if my son is making a mistake in grammar, what's going to happen 10 generations down? It's going to be no
Even
Arabic.
the prophets, when they used to make dua, they used to make dua for their
Exactly.
entire lineage.
Like
Let me be from my lineage.
the best example of this is Ibrahim
Ibrahim
alayhi
alayhi
salam.
salam.
Like if you look that section at the end of the first juz in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ibrahim is just he's making dua to Allah, and it's like he's I don't want to say negotiating with Allah, astaghfirullah. I don't think that's appropriate to choose, but he's pleading with Allah because he's so concerned with his people. So he said, "Rabbi ja'al hadha baladan aminan warzuq ahlahu min ath-thamarati." No, in Al-Baqarah, "Rabbi ja'al hadha baladan aminan warzuq ahlahu min ath-thamarati man amana minhum billahi wal yawmil akhir." He wants people in Mecca from his lineage, because he knows that they're going to all be from my children and my children's children, my children's children. He's making dua for them to protect it. He said, Allah, make this land blessed, make it safe, and make the people eat from its fruits.
Yeah.
Right? Allah said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who disbelieve, I'm going to drive them to the fire. So then Ibrahim, he says, Allah, those who believe in you and the day of judgment, give them food. And Allah says to him again, anyone who disbelieves, I'm going to drive him to the fire. So he's like, first, Ya Allah, protect everyone. Okay, then, Ya Allah, those who believe in you, take care of them. Those who don't believe, just wipe them away so that they don't infect the rest of the people. And then he's thinking. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla says to him again, no, that's also not going to happen. I'll give them food, and those who are evil, I'll drive them to the fire. Like I'll drive them to the punishment. Then he's thinking, and he makes another dua. He said, وَبَعَثْ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. He says, Ya Allah, bring from them a prophet. Bring from them a prophet that will recite to them your ayat, he will teach them the book and the wisdom, i.e. the sunnah, and he'll purify them. Certainly you are able to do that because you're Aziz, you're Hakim, you're wise and you're mighty. Point being is that he was sitting there thinking, right, this dua you think is so powerful because Ibrahim a.s. made a bunch of du'as before that, right? But he landed on this dua. He said, what's going to be the most effective thing for my children's children, and then after them, their children's children, and there's going to be thousands plus year gap between him and them. What's going to be the most optimal project? He said, they need a prophet. They need a prophet, right? A prophet that comes from them that's going to specifically recite Allah's ayat, teach them the book, the wisdom, and purify their hearts. Like, subhanAllah. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla tells you he responded to that dua by sending the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Does that make sense? So point being is that Ibrahim alayhi salam was very focused in terms of the future. Like he was very concerned about those that are not there, right? So you have to think in decades and centuries. And if you look, this is what the non-Muslims have done. Like the Zionists did this. They really thought a century ahead. You know, if you look at Jeff Bezos right now, what's his big project? They don't have akhirah to work towards, right? So what's his big project? It's a 10,000 year clock that will strike every 100 years. The cuckoo bird will come out when the clock strikes a century. And you know what the big vision is? To remind people that there were people that came before you and thought about the future. Sounds nice, it's pretty, but for what? Does that make sense? Like Elon Musk is working towards Mars.
Right.
And whatever he wants to build on Mars, he knows he's never going to see it. Right. He's not going to see it.
It's the God hole.
Right. But the point of the matter is that these guys are thinking about, they're thinking about centuries ahead of themselves. So I have just 3 rules with regards to this that help you think in centuries, or 3 kind of points to consider that will help you think in centuries and decades, as opposed to
weeks and months.
The first one is that start as early as possible. Right? The one who starts early. Remember, we talked about this in our Muslim Money show, right? When we talked about the compound effect. If you start compounding wealth at the age of 50, right? And let's just say you're going to die at 70, then at the age of 70, you will not have what a man will have when he started compounding at the age of 20.
Yeah.
Right? So the earlier you start building, right? The earlier you start putting in that work and building that foundation, the greater trajectory you will have, right? Like we spoke about the other day, he's handling a particular case right now that might take 2-3 months.
Yeah.
And I said, if you start that a week from now, it's going to take 2-3 months
Plus a week.
plus a week. Does that make sense? So if you start a month from now, it's going to take 2-3 months plus a month.
And sometimes even more. And
sometimes
the compound is not there, yeah.
Right? And sometimes even more. So that's the first thing, is to start as early as possible. The second thing is, some victories are for your descendants and not for your calendar. Some victories are for your descendants and not for your calendar. What do I mean by that? There's an ayah that really, I stopped dreaming big, because the UK is such a pessimistic and dark place, that being the optimistic guy who borderlines on idealistic, I became negative, and I stopped believing that we could actually make change in the world. And until I came across this ayah where Allah says about the prophets in Surah An-Nisa that they were messengers. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were messengers. You don't know their names. They were messengers who came. لم نقصصهم عليك. We never told you their stories. You know how deep that is? Prophets, who are the greatest people, the most successful people, right? They're better than anyone, period.
We don't even know their
We don't
stories.
even know their stories. But does that mean they didn't have a story? Does that mean they didn't have a contribution? Does that mean that they didn't lay one of the bricks that finally the Prophet was the keystone of that construction, the last piece of the puzzle? They all did. Then I was like, subhanAllah, I don't have to live to see the change that I hope to make.
And a lot of these prophets won't even see the results of their fruits. Like they won't see it. They'll be entering Jannah alone.
Exactly.
Some of these prophets will enter Jannah alone without any followers. Some of them will enter with one. Some will enter with two. So they were building for other ummahs, not even for themselves.
And I'll just mention 2 brief points here to really, make this point. In fact, I'll mention one. We've mentioned the Ibn Taymiyyah one before. He died in prison, right? And then now, the reason why they put him in prison was because of a fatwa he gave on talaq. The overwhelming majority of the Islamic courts, even those that were against him, give judgment by his fatwa today. And they put him in prison and he died there because of that. Right?
Because of fatwa and talaq?
On a fatwa and talaq. And
there was prison for talaq even those days?
and they put him in prison 6 times. And by the way, his books were being burnt. Abu al-Izz al-Hanafi, when he wrote his explanation of Tahawiyah, which is a book in Creed, Islamic theology, he couldn't quote Ibn al-Qayyim or Ibn Taymiyyah, even though the whole book is from them, because they would have burnt his books, bro. It was illegal. But now look, Ibn Taymiyyah studied in West London, Hounslow. Does that make sense? But point being is that, but the story that really I'll mention, which many people don't know, is Imam Bukhari.
Yeah, I was going to mention
Bukhari, when he did all of his work, you mention the story.
No, Sheikh. I don't know which part you mentioned. Go ahead, Sheikh. Go ahead.
He spent his whole life compiling this authentic Sahih. He would pray 2 rak'at before putting every hadith in there, who walked by foot from here to there and there to here. He went to Baghdad, he came back from Baghdad, he went to Basra, he went there, he went all over the place. Only at the end for one of the Imams who felt a moment, wallahu alam, of jealousy against him and accused him of being a Mu'tazili. The rumor spread so much, so far and wide, that the Imam asked for Allah to take his life. And you know what really blows my mind? Is the great Imam, the great Imam Abu Hatim al-Razi. I don't know if you guys, we've heard his name. But Abu Hatim al-Razi, the great Imam. Yeah, the great Imam, the companion of Imam Ahmad. You know what he said to Imam Muslim? Imam Muslim, who was one of the students of Imam Bukhari. Imam Muslim, which is the second most authentic book, had narrations from Imam Bukhari in there. He said, take them out. The man's a mubtadi'. He said, the man's an innovator. Take him out. Imam Muslim, who is the student of Imam Bukhari, had to remove the narrations from his sheikh because one of the greatest Imams, it reached him that Imam Bukhari is an innovator. Imam Bukhari died unknown, obscure, hated. And he has the most authentic book in the world after the Quran. So my point is that you have to be willing to fight for a victory that you will never see. You will never see in this life. You see it in the next.
Like also the ayah where Ibrahim alayhi salam was told by Allah to call people for Hajj. and there was nobody there.
يأتوك رجال على كل ضامر.
And today, from
Everywhere they become
north,
walking.
south, east, west, they come.
فج عميق.
Scholars.
Yeah.
And the opposite is also true as well, which is that if you are making decisions that you feel that are going to benefit you today, but at the compromise of the long term, that's going to be, for example, let's just say they're in a bad situation and they end up they're struggling to find somewhere to rent and they decide to take a mortgage, get a house with a mortgage. You may have solved your immediate problem. You've got a lower rate that you're paying monthly and so on and so forth. Your children are going to grow up in a house, the foundations of which are haram. The food that you bring that you put into their mouths if you've taken a loan, or if you're selling alcohol, for example, my profit and loss, I'm in the red. If I add alcohol to the things I'm going to be selling, I'm going to be in the green.
You're sleeping in fire.
Survive.
There's a bigger problem than that when you do that. There's a bigger problem. We gave the examples of, brother gave the examples of Ibn Taymiyyah, of Ibrahim alayhi salam, of Imam Bukhari. I'm going to give you a modern day example.
Please do.
Of my maid Lucy. Not that
you mentioned this.
I mentioned it to you, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering who of you guys I mentioned it to. I mentioned it to you. So she's a new maid. Okay? Replaced the other one, and she's new in the house. And I could tell from the moment she entered the house, from the first time I saw her, I saw in her eyes that she's not happy being a maid. She's left her country, and now she's a maid in Dubai. She's come from Africa, maid in Dubai. She has kids over there. She's working here just to send money home. Okay? Whose fault is that? Is it her fault?
No.
Was it bad decisions she made that resulted in her being a maid? No. The bad decisions occurred 150 years ago. Her great-grandfather didn't think ahead. He made bad decisions on the day that he was living that resulted in his lineage becoming maids in the Arabian Peninsula away from their land. And this is the consequence of what happens when you don't think long term. Your kids are going to clean other people's homes.
Or even worse, they're going to leave Islam. And we're seeing that now. We see people, they migrate to the non-Muslim lands.
If you're Jafar and you're cleaning the house of James in Europe, there's a high likelihood you're going to be eating pork and...
That's what I'm saying. So you see it now. Eating pork has become normalized.
Eating pork with
drugs, alcohol, zina.
Sabdurrahman mentioned that when he was in UK and he was small, and there was an Ethiopian, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe Jamaican sister who met his mother, and she looked at the kids because Abdurrahman was young at the time with his siblings, and she said, "This generation will be fine, but the second and the third generation, watch out." And she was, because they had come out with the Jamaicans or wherever she was from, they had come several decades before the Somalis came. And said, watch
about 50 years before the Somalis came.
Yeah, but this is why it's also, business isn't for everybody. We know that.
Yeah.
But there are so many people that business is for
who are
not doing it, and they don't understand the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Because if business is not for you, you're at risk of what I just mentioned, of it occurring to your lineage. Because if you just have a comfortable job, you're here today. I'm talking on average. Allah can give tawfiq and barakah and all of that. But apart from that, just law of numbers, average. If you're an employee scraping a living, okay, more probable than not, your children will be worse off than you. And then there will be a slow trend into becoming somebody's houseboy.
Because it's harder.
Do you get what I
harder.
mean? Yes, because every generation will get harder and harder and harder and harder. So
wealth inequality is
you have no choice. You have no choice to think long term and do the hard things today for that long term. Otherwise,
but yes, and that is a travesty. But I'm saying, even if you had to become a house boy or whatever, but you're able to hold on to your deen, that's even still better.
Yeah, but if you're a houseboy in
it's going to compromise. Yeah,
in Copenhagen or I don't know where.
No doubt. But
comparatively,
the point that I'm making is that the greater harm will always be the deen, and those are the areas where you're seeing people making decisions.
Sheikh.
Where they're compromising and
I don't like to quote religious text. Sometimes you force me to do it.
Go for it. I would love for you
الفقر
to.
يهدي إلى كفر.
As in, that's what the scholar say.
That's what Umar bin Khattab said.
Oh, he said that?
Ya radiallahu anhu. And then he said another thing, and this is my uncle, Uncle Abdurrahman, God bless him. He's dangerous. And I didn't even know he knew ruwayat. So I was telling him, because he likes the money ruwayat. So I said, Umar bin Khattab said, radiallahu anhu, he said, لو كان الفقر رجلا. Before I could finish the line, he looked at me with blood in his eyes. He said, لقتلته.
No, but that's true.
You get it?
Translate
He
that.
said, if poverty was a man, Umar bin Khattab said, if poverty was a man, I would kill him.
I agree with you.
Why did he say that? Why would he say that? Because he knows what poverty can do.
So to preserve your religion, you actually need to take care of your wealth.
No, I agree with you. But my point is in a halal way. No one can come and say,
he didn't say that. He
I don't
didn't
want
say
to.
that.
I didn't say do it. Why you?
Because that wasn't even the point I was making. I was just saying
I don't
is
have
that
a credit card, but what's wrong with
the greater preservation when making decisions.
They're connected. You
They're
can't
Has
preserve the deen
to
without
always
preserving
no,
this.
but the prime. So because for example, someone could turn around and say, the reason why I took a mortgage is because I wanted to make sure that my children have a safe home that they can keep. They don't have to worry about paying rent. But that's the opposite, though.
No.
If
You
you're
need
renting
both,
your whole life,
No,
it's
no.
true. You might not have a house at the end of it. Your children won't have a house that they inherit.
Taban.
But at the end of the day, the foundation that they built upon,
Brother, if you mortgage, you
The
may not
barakah
have.
that comes in.
If you mortgage, you may not have a house at the end of it.
you're right. But my point is, that's
Well,
what,
most
that's what
people are in
people
debt.
think, though.
Yeah.
People think if I take student loan, I'm setting myself up for the future. If I don't, my children are going to struggle. But that's not the case.
Yeah, Sheikh.
Because they will say, we're trying to prevent poverty. But and I agree with you. If you're doing everything halal, 100%, make sure you go out there, not chase the wealth, but as in get wealth in a halal way, no problem. Have high aspirations, get it, achieve it for your future generations, for the ummah as a whole. But don't ever let, even for a second, the thought of, if I just take this little shortcut, if I just do these things, one little thing is haram, but you know what?
That's
I'm going
haram
to make
min
so
Allah.
much money at the end of it.
Yeah.
You're going to be...
I'll give
you're-
zakat.
You're going to be...
I'll give zakat.
destroyed. I'll give zakat, whatever it is.
That's what the big business
You'll be
would do.
destroyed.
That's what they do. So we take the shortcut, we give zakat.
As the CEO of a highly influential Muslim company, would you like to know the single most important move that I made in 2025 that's helped me make more money than I ever have before with Allah's permission? Well, it was joining the Live by Design Mentorship for CEOs by Coach Fawaz. When I heard that he helps scale the CEO's performance, which ultimately results in the business scaling, I was a bit skeptical. But subhanAllah, this program has transformed my deen, my health, my mental health, my family, my iman, and even my business. Coach Fawaz is now one of the 5 most important people that's impacted me in my life. So if you're a CEO of a decent sized company that's struggling to take his business to the next level, that next zero, that's where Coach Fawaz's Live by Design mentorship comes in. I'll leave the link to the application form below if you're interested. With that said, let's get back into the discussion. Before we conclude, Sam, you have anything to add on?
On Imam Bukhari's point, one thing that really fascinated me on the long-term thinking, so he was not chasing a number that I need to collect, like let's say 100,000 Sahih Hadith. So I'll be remembered as this great Imam that collected 100,000 Hadith. So he was not chasing the number. He was chasing mastery in collecting Sahih Hadith.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
You see what I'm saying, Sheikh? So sometimes we're like, even let's say in my field, I want to do 100 buildings. So that's why it's hard for me to answer when people say, so what's your long-term vision? So I cannot put a number to it. It will take me where I'm supposed to be, if I'm focusing on quality.
You know what's funny? Is that we're talking about not doing things for the praise and what was the thing that you said you're good at? Delaying gratification? No, it was impulse control and and not pride. And then imagine like fast forward 10 years, he has those buildings and kid, and then the name of the development is Sam Amin City. He does a flip,
Actually, I didn't tell you. I changed it.
Huh?
I changed it to Sakina Development.
Yeah, but like,
really?
Yeah, I changed
I'm
it.
worried you're gonna change it. I'm worried you're gonna change it later to Sam Amin City. You know what they say, right? You know what they say? I don't know if they say it or if this is my line. الفلوس يغير النفوس.
I think you said
Money changes
Huh?
the soul.
Money changes the soul, baby.
Look, inshallah,
Allah
I think...
protect us, man.
Ameen.
You mentioned the story of Bukhari, rahimahullah. There's also the story of Abu Hurairah, radiyallahu anhu, who has narrated the most hadith from any Sahaba. And towards the end of his life, we know his famous dua, where he asked Allah, "Oh Allah, if it is better for me, then raise me. And if it is better for me to live, then let me live." And there were ahadith that he said, if I was to tell you the ahadith, like he literally was indicating to the fact that they're not able to take it. He did one of the greatest things for us, for the ummah, preserving the hadith. The Quran is from Allah, it's going to be preserved. And yet he was in a situation where he was not recognized towards the end of his life. It's now, 1400 years later, we are recognizing it.
No, wallahi, 100%. Look, one thing I will share with the brothers that I think could be of practical benefit, inshallah ta'ala, because we've talked about this whole thing of long-term thinking and whatnot and so on and so forth, is to have a vision, man. Like you can't produce something for decades. You can't work towards something that's going to manifest in decades, or work towards something that's going to manifest, with Allah's permission, in a century or centuries from now, unless you have a clear picture of what you're working towards. So you have to, and I would recommend people to read this book called Built to Last. It's a very good book, right? It's one of the best business books I've read in my life. And it's all about, he studies companies that over a 200-year period, between 200-year period, that basically, over 200-year period, consistent CEOs constantly outperformed its closest competitor, right? Let alone the market, by 6x, and the market by 6,000x. Right? These are the companies that performed at the highest level, highest level. And basically the whole book, if you kind of summarize it, is around what is the purpose behind your business, what's the vision, and how do you ensure that your purpose and your vision actually stays true within the company. Like, how do you create mechanisms to ensure that purpose and that vision actually manifests into day-to-day activity, so it's not just something that's in the sky. You know, a company writes a vision statement, it's just, it's there. No, how do you take that purpose and that vision and you make it embed inside the bones and the flesh and the blood of everyone that works inside that company? So
this is what Fawaz is actually making me do in my company in his Live by Design course.
Yeah, so this book, phenomenal, fantastic. Fawaz actually ran me through an exercise similar to this when I started Live by Design with him, before I read this book. And that actually got me to get this book in the first place. So Jazakallahu khairan to him. So one of the things that the book mentions, one thing which is a powerful mechanism after you've come up with your vision, is to have something called a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's called a BHAG.
Yeah.
And big, hairy, audacious goal. So it's a goal that's massive and it sticks out like a sore thumb because it's hairy, and it's audacious as in it's got guts.
Yeah.
It's got audacity. It's got nerves to go against the big boys in the market. And he mentions, have like goals that are like 3 to 10 years, but then have like a 30-year goal. Have a goal for an envisioned future that your company, you as a CEO might not ever live to see that company. What does that look like, right? Has to be something really, really, really crazy, really out there. Does that make sense? At the risk of not spooking you, I won't mention what a big audacious goal is.
Why'd you single me out?
I said at the risk of spooking you.
You spook me? Huh?
We want to create a network of Muslims that are so powerful that they can make phone calls that will change history. Right? A network of Muslim entrepreneurs, right, who have got crazy
that's
wealth.
spooking me.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Have sleep insurance. But look, will I see that in my lifetime? There's a huge chance I won't ever see that in my lifetime, right? But that's what we work towards every day. This is a network of businessmen that actually fear Allah with their money, right? They operate at the highest level, but it's so vivid, right? Guys that have got money, but they also are able to change history, right? Make the decisions that actually help the Muslims, help mankind, help us and protect us from evil. So that's like our envisioned big, hairy, audacious goal. I would encourage people to come up with their own, right? Because when you have that, that will allow you to be able to then start realizing, okay, it's that I'm working towards. And then you can delay gratification and be patient and play the long game. Otherwise, bro, you're just working towards a Lambo.
Imran, the question that I think a lot of the viewers might have, may Allah grant us the best of understanding,
Amin.
is why? Why should I go for a goal that outlives me? I want to see its fruits.
You can see its fruits in the next life. But even if you look at this purely from a dunya perspective, right, and you don't even look at it from a religious perspective, you just want to build a business that outlives you. The point that we mentioned at the beginning, which is that when you have a mindset of building something that you won't see, you'll always build something better. As in, the guy who's building something that no one else will see, in his lifetime will see something better than the guy who built just to be in the newspaper.
Yeah. Or the guy who just started a company so that he can retire at whatever age and live on an island and have passive income and this and that. If so, there's so many people whose goal is that, they will not, because their goal is so small and not deep,
They won't even see that.
they won't even see that.
It's like the example they give, the parable they give is, if I give you 5 minutes to build a building, you take some cards, some cups, and you build something which I can kick over.
Yeah.
If I give you 5 years, you'll build Burj Khalifa.
Exactly. Look, a very prime example here, and we don't have to talk about these people's moral standards or their political views, but just as a matter of fact, Elon Musk, and whether you believe them in their vision or whether you believe they're sincere or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But he's got a vision, or whether you believe what his intention is.
It's good or bad,
His vision is he wants to populate a planet called Mars. There's a reason why he was able to build what he's been able to build, because he's thinking, because I need that, bro. In order to go to bloody Mars, bro, you need to have the best.
Yeah, now these are small things for
Other
him.
planetary
He just
now.
buys X. It's a small move for him.
But I'm saying Tesla and
Yes.
SpaceX, and these are all things that you're going to use, tools to get to Mars.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
You
Also,
understand?
you need political influence to get to Mars.
Right?
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
Likewise, when you look at Bill Gates, now the guy's trying to solve malaria. Like that's his vision, apparently, right? You understand? That's why he built what he built to be able to achieve
great
that.
things.
Steve Jobs said, "I want to personalize the computer. I want to make the computer personal, because before computers were only for big corporations. I want everyone to have a computer." Now he put computers in phones, bro. He put computers in iPads. Put computers in watches, bro. Put computers in goggles now.
Now
bro.
they're putting
Goggles.
the brain as well, the Neuralink that's
Yes.
Elon.
Well, I didn't even know about that. But point being is that when you have a goal, like I want to personalize, I want to make the computing and technological experience personal for everyone. Bruv, you're thinking the way that no one else is thinking. So that means because you're, it's like you say, when you reach for the stars, you might not catch a star, but you catch a cloud.
It's a paradigm shift.
That's my one.
Catch cloud,
Catch a cloud, bro.
Cloud 9.
If you reach for the tree, what happens? If you don't catch the tree, what happens?
So if
Fall
you're
on
trying
your
to
ass.
reach for those, you might reach one of the lower levels.
No, give it
if
an
you're trying
example
to
of
just
a
about
fish.
get into Jannah, you might
Trying
end
to
up in
catch
hell.
the...
Exactly. Did you guys say that? Just repeat that.
I said, if you're trying to reach for those, Al-A'la, maybe you might reach it, maybe you might reach just below it, a few levels below it. If you're trying to just, I'm going to scrape by just about get in, you might end up in hellfire.
That's a good example.
On that note.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In case you ever wanted to move to Dubai, I've got something very special for you. As you may be aware, myself and Abu Bakr moved to Dubai and Sharjah last year. It was one of the best decisions that we ever made for our deen, our families, and our businesses. Living here is amazing. You've got a masjid in almost every single street, unparalleled safety and security. You've got lessons from mashayikh and different teachers and students of knowledge in English and Arabic, and no income tax. Now, how do you move here? That's a question that you might be asking. Well, it can be tough if you don't know your way around things. Sometimes the companies that help you get visas here, they got hidden fees, long waits, big problems, resulting in visa rejections, a lot of wasted money and time. This is where Ansar Consultants comes into play. They helped us set up everything. No hidden fees, no long waits. They kept it simple and honest. I got my visa in less than a month. And these guys have a 100% track record helping brothers get their visa so far. 100% track record. That's insane. Allahumma barik. Now, if you're thinking of moving to the UAE, I recommend Ansar Consultants. They can even help you invest in properties here with a 100% Sharia compliant contract. So if you want a smooth move like we did, click the link below and check out Ansar Consultants.